Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I'm going to go over why it's important to ask basic questions, particularly when you're faced with a situation that looks too easy in order to not screw anything up or piss anyone off. So in the last couple of days, I've been working on a bunch of things surrounding my move to a different country. That is a topic that I will go into in a separate video because it's far too long and there's a whole another story surrounding my move and why I'm getting the hell out of this country that I'm living in. So two things that happened surrounding my flight logistics were very simple things, but the people that I was counting on to make this happen did not ask basic questions. They thought it was so easy that they could do it on their own. And one of those things just pissed me off so much. And the other thing pissed me off even more because the way that screw up happened resulted in a rejection of an application that I will now have to wait 3 more business days till next Wednesday in order to get that application redone and resubmitted so I can see what the outcome is. Well, technically, it's not me who's making the submission. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. I am not allowed to make this application because the third party that was hired by the company that I work for has to do it. So you can't be the one doing it yourself and getting it right. No, you have to rely on a third party that acts overly smart and screws everything up. So the first thing that happened was I need a phone number to apply for an arrival date in this country because of the pandemic. And without this application, I wouldn't be able to book a flight. I wouldn't be able to confirm the date that I fly because it would be too risky to just book something and apply for that date and risk rejection and then having to change the flight. It's a whole nother sticky situation that I don't want to be in. Like, it just makes things more complicated. So the process is to apply for a date where I would fly in and then book the ticket. Simple, right? So one of the things that is needed for this arrival date application is a local phone number. I am not a resident of the country that I'm arriving to just yet, and I don't have a option for me to go buy a SIM card online. So I would not only need a phone number that's local to fill up this form to apply for my arrival date before which I can't book my flight, I would also have to have physical access to the SIM card of this number when I arrive there because I will be in quarantine for 2 weeks and the authorities would like to reach the person who's just arrived and be able to check on them and make sure that they're actually quarantined and not running around town doing whatever. The problem with this is it makes it very difficult when a local number is needed and you're not physically there. There's no way I can go buy one online. In theory, I could, but there would be some form of verification required. I think it's in person as well. Basically, I had to ask someone that I know who is in that country to go out and buy a SIM card, give me the phone number, and then later on send the SIM card physically to where I would be quarantined. There was a bit of a hiccup in this process because this person was told some bullshit by the guy at the mobile operator store and didn't end up buying a SIM card that day. And obviously they have their own life, they have work, they have kids, and they have all sorts of other things to do. They're not my personal assistant. And they told me that, hey, I might or might not be able to buy that SIM card tomorrow. Like, I could get it maybe the next day. But again, the issue is I can't book my flight without the arrival approval. I can't get the arrival approval without a local phone number. Like, I can't even apply. I was trying to get this phone number as quickly as I could. So I reached out to a couple of people that are not in that country, but I kind of guessed might have someone that they know in that country who would be able to help me out in this situation in the next 24 hours or so. This part really pissed me off because I actually asked a couple of people. And I don't want to go into this whole story that I just told you right from the very beginning because that makes for a really massive text message. And I just reached out to them. Hey, do you happen to know someone in that country? I need to buy a SIM card over there before I arrive. And one of the things that I was told by more than 2 different people is, oh, can't you just buy a SIM card when you arrive at the airport? No shit, Sherlock. If I didn't think of that, I would be like the most brainless person on the planet, right? Like, I would have a single digit IQ if I didn't think of the airport as a place where I could possibly buy a SIM for that country when I arrive. There must be a reason why I'm asking you this really, really basic question, right? And these people just don't get it. They just jump to the conclusion, assume that you're a retard, and say, hey, why don't you just buy it at the airport? They sell SIM cards at the airport. It's like, yeah, I knew that. Like, if that was an option for me, I would have done it. I wouldn't even be asking you if you knew someone in that country who would be able to help me out to buy a SIM card. This is just so basic. I don't know what kind of assumptions people make about other people, but most of the people that know me as a person who has a lot of critical thinking and analytical skills. And I'm not sure why I was asked this question by, again, more than 1-2 different people. And it just pissed me off so damn much. It made things far more complicated than necessary because now I had to go explain the full story to them. And then they end up saying, oh, I actually don't know anyone in that country. And I'm sorry, I can't help you. It's just so frustrating that there's always this prerequisite of asking, hey, do you know this obvious thing that you could have done? Have you tried this really obvious thing? It's like, yeah, I've thought about that. The other part of the story, right? At least this part kind of just pissed me off. And I just had to go multiple rounds. I was asking different people at the same time. No biggie, right? Aside from, kind of feeling like my intelligence was deeply insulted, no hard feelings there. The second part of the story is the part that pisses me off because it has resulted in a delay in my ability to book that flight. So what happened was I was given a phone number in the end, and I had to give this phone number to this third party hired by the company who was trying to bring me into the country. And they had to go ahead and submit that form for me because I can't do it as my own. The candidate can't do it. Only the person on the employer side or the representative hired by the employer is able to submit this application for an arrival date. That's absolutely amazing. So this person from this third party, they go ahead and submit that application, initially assuming everything about me without even knowing me. So they're a third party hired by the company that's trying to bring me in. So they don't have access to the same information as the company that's hiring, right? They're just sort of like an agency that's tasked to do these, immigration processes and things like that. And they just assumed a bunch of things and ended up getting everything wrong. They assumed that based on my nationality, the passport that I hold, that I would be entering from that same country when I am in fact stationed in another country that they would not have ever thought about. This really pisses me off because they ended up submitting this application with all the wrong details. So they submitted the wrong country where I'll be departing from. They did not include the country that I would be transiting in. They declared a bunch of information around like where I've been and stuff like that. That's just flat out wrong. They made a bunch of assumptions based on the passport/nationality that they saw despite not knowing anything about me. They went ahead and submitted this application and it got through, and now they have to retract it, correct the information, and resubmit it with the right ones. And they actually just did that a couple of moments ago, at which point in time the website gave them an automatic rejection because they had just submitted an application a few days ago for the exact same person that's me, and then they canceled that one. So there's a wait time for that first wrong application to be canceled before you can resubmit a new one. But because you submitted the new one already and got an automatic rejection, now you get to wait 3 working days before you can submit a new application. Isn't that fucking great? And it's a Friday, so 3 working days means Wednesday. The whole situation could have been avoided if only this third party had just reached out to either me or the company that's hiring them for their services and simply asked, so where's this person right now? Where are they going to depart from? Are they transiting to any countries? Is this information correct? Let me just send you the information that I'm about to submit before I actually submit it. No, they don't do any of this. They go ahead and assume this is a person's nationality, therefore they must be physically there. Therefore, I'm just going to put that as their departing country, and There is a direct flight that goes from that country to this country. So I'm not going to put any countries in the transit form field and go ahead and submit this application all on my own because I'm so smart. It's so easy. Like everything's easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's just amazingly annoying how people just can't take the time to ask basic questions when the task looks so easy. If it looks too good to be true, it probably usually is. That's probably something that you're missing out on or that you didn't think about. Life isn't always that straightforward. Things can get really complicated, and if you don't ask questions, especially if it's something important that kind of affects other people, then you really should take the time. Why try to save, yourself 15-20 minutes and then make the whole thing more complicated than it needs to be? This is just common sense that they need to drill into people probably when they're in school or something, because it's quite obvious to me that no thinking whatsoever goes to the minds of these people when they go ahead and do things on their own. When they're asked to do something, they just want to get it done as soon as they can and then kind of slack off, go on Facebook or surf the internet or something like that. And it's just ridiculous. And now I'm just going to have to wait another 5 days, 3 business days from a Friday, because of the weekend is actually 5 days. And I'm actually looking forward to getting the hell out of this country for many reasons. I will make a separate video on that. I will tell you a lot of interesting things that you probably didn't know about this country that I'm living in, because they have such an amazing reputation that they can do no wrong. They're just amazing. Like, everyone should move to this country. It's amazing. And I'm about to tell you the truth on why it's not as great as it's advertised on the brochure. That's it for today. Enough ranting for one morning. And I hope you learned something. See you in the next video.